3 tips when buying a semi truck or buying your first semi truck to look out for. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Make Money Trucking. And I'm going to be going over 3 tips and tricks that I've learned over the years when what to look for when buying either your first semi truck or buying your second, third, fourth, or fifth. But yeah, these are 3 things that I look for that really help me out in buying the right truck and getting a good deal. A lot of people have asked me, what do I look for? How do I buy the right truck? And these are just 3 simple tips that I look for. We're not going to get into engines, manufacturers, makes, models. This is just going to be 3 things that are that you can look for across the board. And let's start out with number 1. So the number 1 most important thing that I look for is rust or evidence of previous rust. So we're going to jump into the screen now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, guys, so we're in truckpaper.com. I went to search W900 Kenworths, and basically we're going to start looking through them, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is just a random search, nothing in particular here. So we'll open this guy here, 2006, and we'll start looking at the pictures. And first thing, we're going to look over the truck, look at the frame, and just we're looking for rust. So we'll zoom in, look at the side of the truck, looking for rust. Look at the front, everything looks good there. And also looking at, so we're going to zoom in on the frame here and look for rust. And this one looks pretty good. So that's kind of what I'm always looking for. I'm always investigating all the areas, looking for rust on the frame. This one actually looks pretty good. We'll go around, zoom in, look at that frame rail, look at the wheel, the lug nuts, they have covers on them, but also that's a good area to look for as well. Look at the back, the mud flap hangers, those aren't rusted, so everything looks good here. And then, here's a better shot behind the truck. It looks pretty clean. There's no evidence of rust, and if they paint it, they did a really good job. Also, the aluminum mud flap hangers, those are pretty clean. Just zoom in, look all over like I'm doing right now. And so far, so good. I like how they have a 5th wheel hitch on the back of this one. Go on the other side. Here we go. Here's a good shot of the frame rail. This looks super clean. Now, to the naked eye, you can kind of see a little bit of overspray on that airbag right there on the right-hand side. So that's something to look into, but it looks like they did a pretty good job. I'm pretty sure they re-sprayed this truck at some point, but sometimes if it's got really bad overspray and it looks real tacky, look for bubbling too. Sometimes when they don't bring it all the way down just right, it'll have bubbling in the frame and you'll see that, but this one looks really good overall. The wheels look good. So overall, this is a really good example. Zoom into that side of the frame looks good. Yeah, this truck is actually a really clean truck. Let's keep going and looking through some other examples, see what we can't find here. Yeah, that first one was actually a really, really good example. So we will probably, these are too new. Keep on looking, something that doesn't have snow on it. All right, we'll look into this one right here. And what we want to do is a good trick is to look at the mounting hardware on the front bumper. We'll go into that later. So yeah, look at the frame here. Looks really clean. No evident rust. Look at the tank hangers. I'm always doing this. I'm always zooming in every single picture, looking for any type of imperfections. This one's really clean as well. Man, I'm randomly picking 2 or 3 of these trucks, and so far they've all been super, super clean. This one frame looks immaculate. And man, this is a really clean truck as well. And looking here, there's no sign of rust. And now we will, let's see here. Let's see if we can find a close-up of the front. Okay, right here. So if you look at the mounting hardware on the front bumper, a lot of times they try to hide rust and spray over it. Those bolts will be rusty with a clean, chrome bumper. So sometimes that's kind of how they try to disguise stuff. Now, let's look at let's see here if they have a motor shot. All right, so next you want to look at the motor, the inside frame of by the motor. Look to see how clean it is. We're looking for rust spots or overspray. They'll definitely be able to tell us if it has been painted. I'm sure this one has been, but if it's done well, it's done well. Now we're going to look at the hardware holding all the hoses and electrical connectors. Because a lot of times those will be rusty because there's no easy way for them to hide that, paint that. But this is a really clean truck. Even the oil filters, they'll have overspray on them. That's just how bad of a job they do. But man, this thing is really clean. If you look, all the hardware is good. There's not any overspray that you can see. That front radiator sport right there, usually they'll get overspray on the fans. That looks really good. Nothing real out of place here. Everything looks pretty good. They did a really good job on this one. But yeah, I usually see overspray. All right, so let's look at another one. Let's see if I can find, kind of trying to find a bad example, but these two have actually been pretty good examples. All right, let's look at this one here. So this is pretty usual wear and tear. It's not too awful clean, which is good. That means they're not trying to hide nothing. So you see a little bit of surface rust on the frame right there, but that's all right. At least, you can tell it hasn't been, not trying to hide nothing, which is good. So this is what you typically see. This is a sign of a truck that's been used, and it's just got your typical little bit of surface rust, but you look at the nuts and bolts, they're all good. The exhaust always can be a little bit rusty, but you look at the connectors for, like the coolant lines and all that good stuff, and wire and harness, and all those are pretty clean. Nothing out of the ordinary here. And that's kind of what you're looking for. And obviously nothing's like bright glossy black, so I didn't try to paint and hide anything. This is typically the condition trucks that I find trucks in. Is also, if you look at here's the other side. This one's pretty clean. Also, you can look for leaks and stuff here. You see a little bit of surface rust starting in that power steering reservoir, which that's normal. You want to see wear and tear, so it doesn't look like someone's been trying to cover something up. But yeah, this is a good way to kind of look at for leaks and kind of valve cover leaks, any type of oil leaks, so that you can have a better chance of negotiating the price down on that. Right here, yeah, this is a pretty clean truck through and through. Just your normal wear and tear. Doesn't look like no one's trying to hide anything. All right, we will. So let's see if we can find any others. And these are just random trucks, guys, that I found online just doing a quick search. So we'll check out this one right here. I don't know why the truck is on these wooden boards. That's a new one. Don't have any clue, but this truck looks pretty good. Looks pretty clean. Man, I was really thinking we were gonna find some rust on something like this, but for the price, it's actually pretty clean. So we'll check the bolts in the front. That's pretty good. And then on the sides here, that's also pretty clean there. Everything that's, we'll take a look at the frame rail. That's really clean. Man, 3 trucks in a row have been this clean. That's pretty lucky. Usually you see some pretty bad, rusty. So you see a little bit of rust starting to form on the top of the frame rail, which that's pretty normal. Especially if, you scuff a fifth wheel plate, then, scuff a trailer on those runners, then obviously rust starts. But yeah, this one looks pretty decent as well. And it doesn't look like they sprayed it and tried to cover it up. Look at also the shock mounts, those bolts that hold the shock mounts right there. They try to hide. A lot of times those will be rusty because they won't paint them, or that's a quick, way to tell if it's been resprayed or if they're trying to hide the rust. Overall, this is a really clean truck, man. And then we'll see if we can't get a motor shot of this guy. Let's see here. Or engine shot. All right, so here's a picture of the engine. This looks really clean. Also, you're looking for the shade of black between the frame and then the radiator support. Make sure that's about the same, shade. As if one's really glossy and one's really dirty, you can tell that that's been covered up or resprayed the right way. But it's really hard to tell if it's done the right way or not. But yeah, this one looks pretty good. Also looking at all the wiring connectors and whatnot. Yeah, this is a really clean example as well. That radiator support looks good. All those nuts and bolts for the CAC are good. All the mounting hardware on the hoses, those are all good. Second thing that I look at when trying to buy a truck is additional accessories that are already on the truck that you might need. So for instance, just real quick, like APUs. If you need an APU, look for a truck with an APU. Also wet kits already on the truck. So I will dive into the screen and show you that right now. All right, so we're going to continue the same search that we're already on. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page. And at the bottom here, there's going to be a search bar that says, let's see, where's that? Right there, keyword search. So we'll type in APU here. Yep, I think I got it. Okay. APU. Type that again. And then we'll just hit search and see what pops up. So there's 6 trucks with that search criteria that came. And what we'll do is we'll just, click into one of these ads and make sure to verify that it actually has what we're looking for. So we'll go through some pictures, and right there, let's see, right there we can zoom in and see that it has an APU. And so that's verified. So that's just a good way to save money, and especially since those are pretty expensive. And then we'll go back down, and this time we'll type in wet kit, hit search, and then see what that pulls up. So we got 41 results, 41 examples. And sometimes PTOs and wet kits may need to be altered or changed a little bit. But yeah, we'll look at this truck here, verify. You can see that there's a hydraulic tank on the back. That's a bad picture. Let's go back. All right, yeah, right there. So it's got a hydraulic tank, so we're just verifying that it actually has a wet kit on it. And like I was saying, sometimes you'll need to tweak the wet kit that's on the truck for your specific application. So we'll go down here and look at this 2010 and just verify that it has a wet kit. All right, so yeah, so there on the frame rail, I'll zoom in. You can see that that's a ThermoFlow. That's really common for what we use for fluid in tankers. That keeps the hydraulic hydraulic fluid from getting too hot. That's pretty much a radiator. So yeah, there it is right there. So we can verify that. So yeah, that's basically what we would do, what you would do. And you can save yourself a lot of money, especially when a wet kit is roughly, you know, anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 to $5,000 new. You know, if the truck you're looking at runs, you know, about $60,000 to $70,000, and then you find one that has this already on it, well, you pretty much just saved yourself that $5,000. That's usually how I look at it, especially with APUs, because those are anywhere from like $4,000 to like $10,000. I think, I don't know what the exact market is, but yeah, so that's just a way to save a quick amount of money. Here's a truck here that already has a headache rack. That might be something you're looking for. You know, a lot of the flatbed guys need these headache racks with actual toolboxes on them. So that's another thing you could type into the search bar and potentially find, because those can get pretty pricey as well. Also, you can do this with, you know, bull bars. You know, those can run herd bumpers. You know, those can also run, you know, upwards of $3,000 to $5,000. So, you know, anything that you find on the truck that's already on there, usually they don't discount, or usually they don't add that to the price. You know, if a truck's market value is $50,000 and it gets into a used dealership or a dealership, they're not really going to add that to the price of the truck. They're just going to sell it as is. Guys, so the third thing that I look at, which a lot of people don't think about too much, is the interior and the quality of the interior. Now, I'm not looking for normal wear and tear. I'm looking for stuff that's damaged or things that you know, need to be replaced, because that would kind of give you the idea of how well the truck was maintained and how well someone cared about it when they owned the truck. Also, you can kind of tell if it was a company truck that was rode hard and put away wet, or if it was more of a owner-operator spec truck that the guy, you know, a single person might have owned for 5 or 10 years and really took care of it. And we'll jump in the screen. I'll show you that now. All right, so we'll continue the same search that we had, and we'll jump into one of these trucks and look at the interior and kind of see what it looks like, if they have interior pictures. All right, so right here you see, and what I'm looking for is stuff that's broken. This one seems to be pretty clean. Nothing's missing, nothing's broken or rubbed off really bad. Everything's intact. It's gonna be a little bit dirty, that's fine. That means the truck was used, but right, this looks pretty clean actually. First one I look at is actually in pretty good shape, so this would be a pretty good interior and an indicator that the truck was taken care of. And then, so let's look at another one and see what we might find here. All right, this might be a pretty good one. Look at the interior. Let's find an interior picture. All right, well, it's got a wet kit on it. All right, so here's the interior, and overall this one looks okay. Doesn't look too awful bad. I mean, it's got some wear and tear on the dash, but that's pretty normal. And then we'll go and look at some more angles. So right here you see like there's missing knobs, there's missing screws. This kind of shows that the truck might have been, you know, rode hard and put away a little bit wet, or might have been driven by company drivers, and you know, there's just stuff missing here. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just a good indicator of if the truck was taken care of or wasn't taken care of. And if you're gonna sell the truck, you know, maybe you would take some of this stuff and replace it. So yeah, that's just something to look out for. But overall, I mean, it's in okay shape. There's some faded paint and whatnot. And then you also want to look at the seats and see what condition they're in, if they're real worn. I mean, seats are easily replaceable, but it just shows the condition. Now, this dash looks pretty decent. The sleeper doesn't look too bad either. So, you know, I might give it a pass for those missing dials because overall it looks pretty decent. All right, let's look at another one here. Let's see, let's look at this. This one looks like a good one. See if they have interior pictures. All right. So this sleeper looks alright. You can tell there's a vent missing. You know, that kind of gives it a knock. But overall, I'm looking at the vents, making sure all the vents are still intact. That's good. All the buttons and switches aren't worn down too much. Another thing I'm looking for is excessive wear. So a little bit of an extra tip here, you know, bonus tip. Also the steering wheel, look at the wear on that. But a bonus tip is, you know, if they say the truck has 600,000 miles on it, and then you see that the pedals are worn all the way down to the metal, then that's an indicator that it might have like 1.6 million instead of just 600,000, 1,600,000. Also, the steering wheel can be real worn out. So that's just a little bit of tips there to what to look for to verify like mileage. Like if they say the truck only has 500,000 miles, but then the pedals are worn down to the metal, you're like, yeah, maybe it has a little more than what they're saying. It might have been rolled back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just look at everything, see that it's in good shape. Hopefully this was helpful and you found this informative. 3 tips to things to look for when buying your first truck or buying the second, third, or fourth truck. So hopefully you found this informative. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.